Pods.
Welcome to Jobs and Pods, the only podcast where real employers talk about their jobs and tell you what it's like to work there. I'm your host, Peter Clayton. Today's Jobcast features business performance management consulting roles inside IBM's financial management practice area. We'll talk today with Diane Hessler. Diane is a partner in the FM communications industry, where she leads the BPM practice and is tasked with growing their team familiar with BPM and Cognos planning. Diane, welcome to Jobs and Pods.
Thanks, Peter.
Diane, tell us about the financial management practice area and describe some of the projects you work on.
Sure. Let me explain where the financial management practice area sits, just to give folks a sense of where we are. So if you think of the broader IBM company, within IBM we have IBM Global Business Services, and then slicing down a little farther, we're geography-based, so we have an Americas group. And then within that we have the communications sector, which is our industry vertical, and then within the sector is the financial management practice area. So we're a competency of financial management consultants providing services to the communication sector, so those clients that are media and entertainment clients, telecommunication clients, or energy and utility clients. And within that, just because we have recently acquired Cognos, and we're talking a little bit about Cognos planning, this is a group that's separate from the software group. So these are business consultants that are focused on performance management and have a specialty in Cognos, but it's different from the Cognos software group that's part of the IBM company. So if I talk just a minute about the practice area, so I think I just walked you down a channel, I just want to talk a little bit about the practice area. So we focus on the finance function, so those clients and their finance organizations, trying to help them become more efficient and better partners with it within their company.
And how long does a typical project last, and how big of a team do you work with on these projects?
I love that question because there's no such thing as a typical project. It's almost like the question, the 100% consulting answer, it depends. So while we don't have a typical project, I'd say that most of our projects, if it was just a performance management project, it would last anywhere from 1 to 6 months on average. But some of our projects are the front end of a broader finance transformation project, and that could be longer, anywhere, from 7 months on to 2 years. And I guess I'd also want to let folks know that most of our projects tend to be, U.S. domestic projects. But if we're working for a company that has international locations, some of the folks do some international travel. But in general, they're U.S.-based projects as well.
And Diane, what are your most immediate hiring needs at this moment?
So right now, we're really looking to build and expand our talent in the Cognos area of business performance management. So we're looking for folks who have a strong foundation in enterprise planning, as well as benchmarking and scorecarding with experience using the Cognos product, especially Analyzer in the enterprise planning group. We're hoping that folks either are certified in Cognos planning or they have a strong desire to be certified. We're also looking at folks that have consulting experience but are willing to look at folks as well who've spent a good deal of time in the financial planning and analysis organization in a company and perhaps have been engaged on a project to implement Cognos and are looking to switch to the other side and try consulting. So enterprise planning is where we're looking to expand, but we're looking for folks both with consulting experience or those who have a desire to switch to the consulting organization.
So you mentioned that these were domestic assignments. Where specifically are they located? So
I want to differentiate for a minute, Peter, between where the people are located and where the projects are located, right? So our jobs are, and we like to say to folks, between 80 and 100% travel. So we encourage folks to be located near a major hub airport, because if you're going to be on the road Monday morning till Thursday afternoon, you want to make that commute, as quick as you can. So in terms of where folks can be located, we would say that, as long as they're near a major metropolitan area from a home base perspective, that works. When I switch the paradigm for a minute and talk about where the job's located, right now most of our needs for our jobs that are sold work have been primarily on the West Coast. But we have a number of opportunities that we're looking at right now on the East Coast. We don't have much in the middle, but that doesn't mean, folks who live in Dallas are in great spots because they can travel either East Coast or West. But in general, our opportunities right now for the projects are on either the East Coast or the West Coast.
And when you interview someone for your team, what do you want to hear or see that will impress you?
It's a great question. I'd say the first thing that we see is someone's resume. And my suggestion would be to make your resume strong within a 2 or 3 page presentation of yourself. We have some folks who send a resume that's 6 or 7 pages, and that just, what I'd ask folks to do is just like when we communicate with our clients, develop a strong, cohesive message that says about you, what you've done, and what you've delivered for your clients and in what areas. So that would probably be the first thing that I talk about. The second thing that we see when we talk to someone in an interview process is how you communicate verbally over the phone. So we're missing the ability to sit down face-to-face because our process starts with a phone screen. So your ability to communicate and present a point of view and share a little bit about yourself without sitting across the table is probably the second thing that's important that we evaluate, as well as the third, which is probably the most important, but we make our way through the process, is how have you helped companies transform or improve the performance management functions for their organization, either as a client or as a consultant. So we're looking for real examples of how you've done that, and specifically if you've had a challenge in a project, sort of how did you help get over that challenge?
That's some really great advice. In your opinion, Diane, why is IBM a great place to work?
Well, that's an easy question because I think we've got one of the strongest global business consultancy practices, and it's really all about our people. When we think about what do we bring to our clients, what we bring to our clients are our people, and I think that's what makes us a great place to work. I work with a wonderful group of folks who have a diverse background, who are really inspired by helping customers or clients transform their financial business operations. So from the point of view of the first job that you have with us, I think you work with really good people, you'll get good coaching, and you'll have an opportunity to grow. And what I also like about IBM relative to some of our other competitors is that we are a broad company that has a wide variety of services and things we provide to clients, so that we have a career track that can either have you go up a consulting rank or at some point in time you have opportunities in all the other divisions of the IBM company if you're thinking about a longer-term career. So I think we provide diversity of potential and opportunity and a great group of people to work with.
So what advice can you give to the folks listening to our interview today who would like to work for IBM?
I think, be yourself, bring to us strong capabilities, but then also be willing to be flexible in terms of your assignments and what you can do. And I'd say have a desire to stretch yourself, have a desire to push yourself so that you're delivering the best for yourself as well as the best for our clients. And I would think, have some aspirations about being a thought leader in a specific area and best in class for what you deliver to our clients.
One last question for you, Diane, and you brought up resumes. Do you prefer functional or chronological resumes?
Oh, I think, it's really all about, I've seen both, Peter, to be honest. I think it's really all about, in either the functional or chronological, how have you clearly demonstrated what you've done? So I've seen both work well. I don't really have a strong preference to either one. I do want to see where you've worked and what you've done and sort of what you've delivered, and I think both views actually present that pretty well.
Well, Diane, thanks so much for joining us today on Jobs and Pods.
You're welcome. It was great, and I hope this is helpful to folks who are thinking about coming to work with us.
I think it will, because you did provide some really great information. That will do it for this edition of Jobs and Pods. I'd like to thank Diane for her time today. To find out more about the jobs discussed today, please send an email with your name and interest to hire1@us.ibm.com. That's hire, the number 1, at us.ibm.com. Be sure to indicate how you found this podcast and write BPM Jobs in the subject line. Thanks again for tuning in to Jobs and Pods.